Hey guys, I'm back. I didn't go AWOL. I appreciate all the messages checking in to see where I was at. I took a little bit of time off. As all you guys know, the work-life balance is hard sometimes. Being a present boss, giving customers consistent quality while fumbling through and learning how to run a business and still being a good husband and father is really rough sometimes. And sometimes you have to back burner stuff that you really love to do, like this podcast. And with that being said, if you guys caught my quick little intro asking that I want to hear from you guys, I want to clarify something. I've been pretty selective about who I choose to have on here for reasons. I want to have people who are relatable and who have been there and in the trenches. I want to talk to people who have something to teach or something to learn. I started this podcast because I wanted to meet and learn from other people in the industry. I regularly get emails from you guys, and I'm honored that you even care about my opinion. I'm positive there are way more qualified people out there to help me answer these most asked questions. So instead of doing the same format as I always do, I kind of want to table a few questions and have a mini series with short episodes for the next couple months to answer some of those questions that everybody has been asking. So yes, I do want to hear from you guys. I'm going to put a list of questions out on our Instagram page, such as what did you learn the hard way? What was your biggest pain point? What do you wish you knew before you started? And things like that. If you've got answers to some of these questions, I want to hear from you. We can make these short, we can make these 15 minutes, we can make these 30 minutes, we can make these an hour if you want. It's up to you guys and what you feel you can add value to. So, by the time you hear this, I want to have these questions posted. If you want to hop on a call with me, give me an email, kevin@jmwfabrication.com. We'll set up a time and we'll see what we can do. I want to start putting these out as they come. So we're going to get back into things pretty quick. So if you've got something, reach out to me, kevin@jmwfabrication.com. And until next time, get out there, get it done, and get it invoiced. Hey guys, welcome to the Welding Business Owners Podcast, where our podcasts are late, but our bids are on time. I'm your host, Kevin, with JMW Fabrication. Today we've got episode number 3 with Scott Milligan from Concord River Fab. If you haven't checked out his previous episodes, go back and check those out because this episode will make a lot more sense if you listen to the first 2. If you want to follow along with all the stuff that he does, you can find him on Instagram at Concord River Fab. You can find me at JMW Fabrication. And you can find the podcast at Welding Business Owners Podcast. And without any further ado, here's episode number 3 with Scott from Concord River Fab. I remember being in your shoes back when it was just me. And man, there have been a couple times where I was like, is this really worth it? How many times have you considered hanging up and just going in to get a 9-to-5?
So I've never considered going back to having a real job. I always call it a real job. So I don't think I'll have a real job again.
Yeah.
Even on my worst days, it's better than having a real job. My first job on my own was about as bad as it could go. He was one of my bosses at the mill, and he had been talking to me about building a handrail at his house. He was selling the house; it was under contract. And they needed the handrail to be up to code. And at that time, I had never built a handrail. And I just learned that, can you do this? Yeah, I'll figure it out. And that's kind of been my mentality since I decided to do this. There's a process. You know, someone else can do it. I can do it. Just got to figure it out. Well, figuring out your first handrail on the job, not the best idea. You know, because I built it on site. I brought my my welder. I set up in his garage, brought my tubing, and learned a lot. But this was my first day. It was that Monday. I think I had quoted him 6 or 7 hours. Took me 17 hours over 2 days, and he was 40 minutes away from my shop, so down and back twice. And this place was it was built. I don't know if it was just old, if it was built like crap, but nothing's parallel or plumb. And I'm trying to make this rail off of nominal dimensions. So I go tack it together. I come in and oh, there's a huge gap up there. Well, it's because the wall's leaning in or out, and it had to come up a knee wall, turn, and then go up the stairs. And we ended up by the end of it having a yard on that thing at the top of the stairs and wind the lag bolt in it to hold it there. And I thought, what did I do? A week ago I was working at a paper mill for $35 an hour with full benefits, and now I'm making an idiot out of myself on my very first job. Oh, I'm pretty sure I paid him for the privilege of being there. But it's like when I bought my plasma table, I had so much invested in it that any problem I had in my head, I could just say, you know what, just calm down. You're gonna find the solution. You got too much invested to walk away from it. You can't quit. And that same kind of mentality that day, I said that to myself, like, this is gonna happen. This was just an ugly day. You got a whole career ahead of you. Just calm down, get through it. And I did. I got through it. And then, the next job I had, whatever it was, went well. And it's been 90% of things go well. This week has not been awesome, but just telling myself that, this happens. Everyone runs into this. Just never been so bad that I wanted to hang it up. I look forward to the challenges now. So, all right, well, this was tough, but the next time I do it, it won't be as tough. To anyone that runs into that situation, just remind yourself that it's just a job. You'll get through it.
I always thought about it, and it would come into my head for about maybe like 15 minutes. Maybe not even 15 minutes. And then I'd calm down and I'd be like, you know what? There's no way I could ever go back to like actually having like a real job. Like I'm built to do this. Like this is my calling in life.
It's funny you say that. I meant to say that earlier. That's how I know that this is what I should be doing, because I've had a million opportunities. When I was doing this part time, I had bad days. I had projects that's like, what did I get myself into? I didn't have to keep doing it. I don't have to do it now. That's how I know that's what I'm meant to do, because even when it's awful, I still love it. What more could you ask for? I posted on my Facebook page the other day. I got to work Saturday and Sunday. I got to work. That's how you know you love what you do, when working on the weekend is a treat for you. Never in my life have I gone, oh no, it's Friday. Like, it's the weekend. I got, not that I don't love hanging out with my family and doing other things, but I just love being in the shop, getting stuff done, making money. It's all fun.
Speaking of family, how do you juggle the single owner operator with family life, and what's your biggest struggle with that?
It's super tough, because I always hear people say, I worked my life away. I wish I would have spent more time with my kids. And you hear that over and over and over again, but it's like, well, how come no one ever does anything about it? So I'm not going to be that guy that, geez, I wish I got to see my daughter grow up. I'm going to watch her grow up. I'm going to be there. My stepson, I'm going to go to his baseball games, his football games, whatever he's got going on. So I do. Right now, the tough thing is my daughter's 2. I don't want to put her in daycare. Me and my brother and sister, we never went to daycare. Granted, my mother was a stay-at-home mom. My wife works. We both work from home. So, all right, well, I don't want her to go to daycare. I have to watch her in the morning until her first nap. And that was 9, and then it was 10, and now it's 11. So I haven't been hanging out until 11. Usually my wife can kind of cover me sometime between 9 and 10. But it's tough getting started at 10 o'clock in the morning. And, I got chickens and ducks and geese. I got to go take care of them in the morning. So usually by the time I'm actually in my shop being productive is 10:30. And, well, the family wants me in at 5 o'clock as much as possible. So that's not even a full day. I'm used to working 10s, 12s as normal, up to I've done 15s a bunch and some 17s. So going down to a 7-hour day, it's so hard to get stuff done, but that's what I have to do. I'm being able to spend tons of time with my daughter. How do you regret that? So
Never.
Right.
Never
But once she's older and in school, I can get back to working my longer hours. Recently, I've been going out, and I'll get up at like 5, have my coffee, watch the news, and I'll get in the shop by like 6:30, and I'll work for a few hours because the baby, too, still call her baby. She gets up about 8:30 now. So all right, well, that time of day, the phone's not ringing, no one's stopping in. All these little. Usually, I do plasma jobs, so I don't get filthy before I come back in the house. Uh, but I can knock a bunch of those jobs out. Tons of stress off my shoulders. Feel like I got something done, and then I can come in and see her, and then go back out later. So it's not easy. It's not definitely not the best thing for the health of the business, but it is what it is. I'm not going to budge on it. I'm just going to make it work.
Yeah.
Whenever I can, I work the weekends. If I can work late, if it works for the family, I'll work late. I'll go out early. It doesn't bother me to do that. So it's working. It's tough, but it is working.
Yeah, absolutely, man. There's a book out there by John Acuff, and he says that you can be selfish with your time at 5 a.m. because the phone isn't ringing. Nobody needs you. And, a few of my friends have tried to start their own business. And I'm like, you're going to make the most traction in your business between the hours of 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. As long as you get like adequate numbers, like you can't be staying up till midnight and trying to get up at 5 on a consistent basis and do that. But if you really want to make it happen, you got to get up at 5 a.m. and you got to grind hard for those 2 hours because you can get so much done in 2 hours. 5 days a week, that's 10 hours a day of uninterrupted. And like maybe some other people are not morning people, but I'm a morning person. I get up, like I don't quite jump out of bed, but you give me like 5 minutes, man, I am rolling. I am rocking and rolling. I'm happy. I'm chipper. It's funny. My wife is not a morning person. She's like, I hate getting up in the morning just because of that you're around. She's like, you are just way too happy in the morning. She's like, I don't want to talk to you. She's like, you want to have these in-depth conversations at 6 a.m. I'm like, it's just the way I'm wired. I'm sorry. But she stays in bed until I leave just so that she doesn't have to deal with my chipperness.
It's the same exact thing here. Meg is not a morning person, and I get that all the time. Hey, I just woke up. It's like, oh, sorry. I've been up for 2 hours. I got things to say. So, yeah. So
hear me.
Yeah, and I'm loud. I'm this loud at 6 a.m. So I understand her not wanting to hear it. Yeah, it's crazy that those 2 hours in the morning, those 2 hours feel like 4 hours, where every hour during the day seems to fly by. So it's just that zen, I guess. I go out there, get the tunes cranking, and just, all right, I'm going to get these 4 jobs done before I have to go in. And bam, bam, bam. And it's such a good way to start the day, being productive right off the bat. And it makes up for, I get people come by here all the time. I've got a 7-hour normal workday, which is already ridiculous. I get 2 or 3 guys that show up and want to tell me about their boat or the drummer in their church band or whatever. I'm just thinking of some of the examples from the last few weeks. It eats my day up, and I don't have it in me to say, hey, look, go away. Because I like these people. They're nice, and a lot of them are my friends, but they don't get it. This conversation is costing me $80 an hour, and I'm not getting what I'm paying for. So, it's like I'm thinking about putting up a sign that says, if you plan to talk more than 10 minutes, pick up a grinder or something like that. I don't know how to solve that, because I guess it's just buck up and protect my money and tell people, look, I'm busy. I don't have time to talk. But easier said than done.
I do have a customer who, when I know anytime I talk to him, well, okay, I used to have 2, and now I only have 1. Anytime I pick up the phone, I know I'm going to be on. He's going to tell me the backstory of everything that's going on in his life right now, and he's going to get off on tangents. And to be honest with you, half of it isn't even true. And you know what? I got to the point where I told him, I said, I'm going to have to start charging you for these conversations. And that was a few months ago. And guess what? I charge him I
Yeah.
add it onto the bill. Now that I say it out loud, it's probably my fault for even like entertaining him and keeping
Yeah.
him on as a customer. And I don't do it to be a jerk. I really don't. It's just my time is
Mm-hmm.
valuable and I prioritize things. When I prioritize taking my son to school every morning, when I prioritize working half days on Wednesdays to homeschool my kids, I need to be super efficient on those other times when I am on it. And today I got 3 phone calls in a matter of 2 hours and probably 12 emails. And you know what? It's still so hard. I see the phone calls come and I see the emails come and I'm like, I cannot answer that right now, or I will. This task that I'm on that I could get done in the next 30 minutes is going to take me
Mm-hmm.
3 hours if I let myself get distracted by those emails. And you know what? Nothing was nothing pressing. Like, yes, they wanted to give me more business and they wanted me to solve their problems and, correspondence back and forth. And nothing's going to be lost if I wait 3 more hours, even an hour, just to get back to them. I need to focus
Mm-hmm.
on what I'm doing here. And man, that is so tough for, especially when you're in the zone. Like when you're in the zone, like today was one of those days. I was in the zone, man. I was killing it. I was doing like 6 things at a time, and I'm like knocking it out of the park. I'm doing this and printing that, and blah blah blah, and quoting this and so like scheduling this, and you know, you want to take on those things. Like that's those times where it's easy to like get overwhelmed, with because I had 12 emails and 3 phone calls. I'm like, yeah, I can deal with that. But like I'm on this big task. I'm like, no, you can't. You need to stop and just prioritize. Like it's the problems are still you're not gonna solve the problem today. Like nothing you do is going to move the ball further down the court to getting their problem done, whether you do it now or you do it in an hour.
It's tough not to get right back to him. I do the same thing. My phone will ding, and I'll keep my phone across the shop so I don't let it bother me. But it'll ding, and I gotta go see what this is about. And
Mm-hmm.
I like that if you go on my Facebook business page, that my response time usually responds within minutes. I big deal. I don't know why that's so important to me, but I like having that customer service, I guess. But yeah, man, it's distracting. And then half the time, it's my buddy, at work sending me some reel. Like somebody getting hit by a car. Hey, look at this. Like, dude, I don't have time for this garbage. Can you send it to me tonight?
Well, it's really funny because one of the things that I can point to a few customers that the reason why I'm still their guy now is because I used to have that customer service like you are doing when I first started out. I was attached to I still am attached to my phone. Who am I kidding? Like those emails, I would just reply, just a quick reply back, and I would be on it. And I was like, I'd get a 7, 8 email thread going before lunchtime trying to solve these people problems. And that's fine and dandy if you have the capacity to do that. But looking back on it now, my productivity suffered so much because I was on that. So it's not necessarily just a bad thing because I know I still have customers today because of the way that I service them when I first started out. Like, how many single owner operators do you know that it's tough to get them to get back to you on anything because they're so overwhelmed? Well, you know what? I was a single owner operator and I was on it. That spoke volumes. Now I'm actually just kind of like on par with everybody else. Like you'll get an email back today, even if it's just saying, "Hey, I'm working on it." Or like maybe it's not even today because some days I just don't. My personal goal is to respond to everybody within 24 hours. And my goal for this year is to quote everybody, to give a quote within 48 hours of having all the complete information that I have. Whereas before, I mean, I used to throw quotes out on my lunch break. Now I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that because I need to think through these quotes a little bit more than I did back then too.
Yeah. I've been bit by that, by spitting out a quick quote and then, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about that portion.
Hardware,
Yeah. Oh
painting.
my God. Yeah.
Oh, the install. Oh, how about all the material? Like I quoted you just the time it would take to do. How about the $3,000 in material? Sorry, I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great price. Let's get on it. And then
Right.
you're in the shower. You're like, I didn't put any material on that. Been there.
Yeah. Oh no.
So if you were to do it all again, what would you change?
I would take a business class. Or
Okay.
business classes, and I still might, if I can find a night class that would work with my family schedule. I probably still would, because that's what I know the least about. Not that I know a ton about any of it. I'm self-taught. I picked all this up. It's kind of embarrassing, but most of what I do, I learn on YouTube. That's how I got into the mill. I had to take hands-on tests to get in there. Learned it all on YouTube. But I don't think I'd want to go back and go work in a welding shop. It would make me a better welder. I'd go to welding school, but that doesn't do it for me. I don't see myself thriving in that environment. I kind of like how I ended up where I am. It was a slow way to go. It all kind of happened by accident. I never planned on having a fabrication business. I felt embarrassed calling myself a fabricator for a long time. It's like, oh yeah, am I though? Really? It's like I got these tools, but am I a fabricator? It's still today. I don't know. People pay me to do what I do, so I guess I'm a fabricator. I'm a machinist, really. That's what I'm trained to do. That's what I got the most experience in. But the business side of it, that I have a harder time picking up from talking to people. A lot of the fabrication stuff, I know tons of fab guys, tons of welders. I ask them questions all the time. Hey, I got this job going on. How would you tackle that? I know more people that are good at the welding side, fab side, than are good at the business side. So I think I would get more out of a business class setting, because I probably still will, as soon as I can find a time and a place that works with our schedule.
That's never going to happen.
It might. It's good to have goals.
Do it online.
Yeah.
Do it online at 5 a.m.
Yeah, I could totally do that. Yeah, I've looked up some things like accounting stuff, QuickBooks, self-employed, right on my phone, and that was big. That's well worth the $15 a month, whatever it is I pay for that. Are you familiar with how that works?
Not the we have QuickBooks Online that is, and that's what we've been using for years now. But I'm not familiar with the self-employed.
Yeah, so I've got it. So I have a business credit card. Every purchase goes on that card, and it automatically comes up into my QuickBooks. And you swipe one way for business expense, you swipe the other way for personal. Now that it's all business, it's all swiping one way. But you can swipe it and then categorize where those expenses go, and it will track all your income and expenses. It'll estimate your taxes. Your Fed, I don't think it does the state. Automatically track your mileage using the location of your phone, and have all your trips will come up, and you can swipe left, swipe right for personal. Because those I have to sift through, because it tracks every one of my trips. And if I'm going to the store to buy milk, that's not a business expense. But yeah, it makes it real easy for a guy like me that doesn't have a firm grip on accounting. And then I give that to my accountant at tax time. And I'm actually just setting up payroll now, because we're finally bringing in enough money that the government will get angry if we, we're big enough now to be recognized. So I got to do payroll and pay all those taxes and whatnot. But yeah, that between QuickBooks, self-employed, and my new accountant, I can focus way more on honing the craft and not stress so much about the financial side of it.
Boy, I wish I learned that when I was a couple years into it. The first year, 2, 3, that was a struggle for me, man.
Yeah, it's a lot to understand. My old accountant, I went in and asked a ton of questions, and that just seemed to lead to more questions. But a little at a time.
Yeah. What's your favorite tool?
My favorite tool is my lathe,
Yeah.
and hands down, I love that machine. I love what I can do with it, and just the fact that it holds tolerances. It's 1965, I think, and it just, man, it's an animal. Doesn't turn up real fast. It only spins up 600 RPM, but it's a 5.5 horse. Some of the best thread. I worked at a CNC shop forever, and the nicest threads I think I've ever cut were single point cut on that lathe. Just, I love it.
What is one tool that you should probably sell?
I actually cleaned out a lot of stuff that was kicking around I wasn't using. I gave away. What should I sell? My surface plate. I've got a big 3-foot Starrett surface plate that I've got wrenches on it and a couple Red Bull cans. It 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 has a dip, a 5/1000 dip in it, and that makes it like about useless. I was gonna have it resurfaced, but it turns out reconditioning it was gonna cost a ton, and the footprint of it is just it's wasting very usable space.
Facebook
So
Marketplace, man.
I've tried to sell it a few times. I paid $300 for it. I don't know. Maybe I can hook a chain to it and sell it as a boat anchor.
Anybody who needs a surface plate is not buying it on Facebook Marketplace.
Well, I did. A guy, he traded a motorcycle for the contents of a machine shop, and he had ambitions of getting it up and running. The guy builds monster trucks. His shop is wicked cool, but he didn't do anything with it, and finally decided to unload, and I capitalized on that.
Nice.
And one of the things I took home, I mean, I got a lot of really good stuff from him that offsets that rock.
So what's your favorite job that you've ever done?
That's a good question. Our town's tiny. It's like we have 5,000 people, mill town, not much going on. A couple years back, they built a Best Western Plus. Big deal for our town. They put a hotel in. And I got set up with them. Another networking thing. The GM of the hotel, him and his wife both bought metal art from me and my wife. We were at a vendor booth at a farm down the road. They put on this big event, and we set up there. And I'd taken some hand saws and cut scenes out of them. A guy on a tractor and a cow, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They bought them, and well, next thing you know, I get a call from that guy. Hey, we bought these saws from you, and we need some artwork at the hotel. Can you come down and talk to us? Okay. So I went down, and it ended up happening. I did. When you walk in, you go to the check-in counter, and they got this fake rock on the wall, but it has the name of the hotel in. It's just cut out plasma letters. It's nothing, for us, it's like, whatever. It's just a plasma cutout, but it's powder coated copper. It stands off the wall. It makes a nice shadow on the wall. They have it lit from above. And that's the first thing you see when you walk into this hotel. And then behind that, they have a video fireplace, and on top of that, I had made some 3D moose and pine trees. And
nice.
So, yeah, the jobs themselves weren't anything special, but it's just the fact that it's in that hotel was neat to me.
The pride of it, yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you land on getting on Maine Cabin Masters?
Networking.
It all goes back to who you know.
It like you had said before, people on those groups online are always asking, how do you get work? Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
If we go out to eat, I'm always listening. No, I'm not trying to eavesdrop, but I probably should have been a salesman. I always see that potential. Anytime I can inject myself into the conversation, I'm not afraid to. Like I said, out to dinner, and you hear someone talking about their new cabin they're building, and hey, you need any any wall art or timber brackets or whatever, hey, here's my card. That's paid off 100 times.
Yeah.
So Maine Cabin Masters, I've been watching that show for years, and I saw that they use plasma cut signs for decor, and they have fire pits made. And so I reached out to them on Facebook and said, hey, I do this similar type of work, and I'm in Rumford, and if you ever find yourself in my area, I'd love to talk. And they replied to me, yeah, I'll pass your information along. That's great. And I never heard anything. Another year went by, and I think I saw another episode. They were at a shop. The guy had this. You've got a JD squared. Was it Mad Max? What's it called?
Yeah, it's a Mad 5x10. I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a guy that had one of those, and he was cutting some signs out. I wrote back again. Hey, just checking back in, let you know I'm still doing this. And same deal. We'll pass your information along. Well, fast forward to a year ago. A guy I used to work with at the paper mill, we talked. He loved Cabin Masters too. We talked about him all the time. He sends me a text. The Cabin Masters are building a house in town. Like, you got to be kidding me. I don't want to bug him, but I wrote back to him a third time. This was like once a year. I wasn't every week bugging him, but then I didn't want him to forget me. I said, look, I've reached out before, but you're in my town. I said, I can't not say something. If there's anything I can do for you, here's some pictures of what I do. Okay, yeah, great. Same thing. A couple days later, I get a call from a California number. Hey, this is so-and-so. I'm a producer for the Maine Cabin Masters. We've got a job that we think you'd be good for. Yes, all right. It paid off.
They actually did pass it on.
They actually did. So could you come down on Wednesday and meet the crew and talk about the job and see if you guys can all work together? And yeah, sure thing. So, I mean, just don't be afraid to reach out to people or to just inject yourself. If you want to make money, people have to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I went down, met them. My wife came down. She met them too. And it was awesome. They showed me what they needed. They built a cabin that it set up off the ground, I don't know, 4 feet or so. And they said, we want a rack underneath to store skis in. Okay. So I'm looking at it and I say, wow, man, it's a dirt ground. The ground heaves here with the hot and cold. And so if you put a rack under there, it's going to get all jostled over time. So what if we undermount it to the floor joist? Then it's up off the ground. And I said, you know what? I can make that out of aluminum, and then we don't have to worry about rust. And then I said, hey, how about if I make pull-out drawers that you can put all your skis in? And they're loving it. And they said, yeah, let's do it. That's great. And then I went, oh, man, now I got to figure out how to do this. What did I just do? But I get my mouth going, and I'm a salesman.
Yeah.
Oh, well, like I said before, it's just a job. Figure it out. And we did it. It was down to I finished it at 2 a.m. the day before I had to install it. But yeah, we filmed 2 days. That was it. That first day, I went down just to meet them, and they decided that, well, let's shoot the first scene right now. Shoot the scene. What am I doing here? They put a mic on me, and we did. We shot the scene. I'm happy to report that those guys and girls are exactly in person. They're exactly like they are on the show. They are some of the coolest people. Nice. We know a bunch of the same people, so we're just kind of chatting like friends. And they do their own work. I never even met Chase the first day because he was on the roof the whole time. Yeah, just super cool experience. Those guys are awesome. And thank you for watching, by the way.
Oh, no, of course, man. Like that was, I loved the drawer idea. I was like, man, that is such a cool idea. So it's actually really cool to know that was actually your idea.
Yeah.
Because like I wonder, like, do they have a plan? Do they just like find contractors and bid this out? Like, how does this like actually just all come together? You know what I mean? Like, is this like a typical job where, like they just source things from wherever? Or yeah, so it's really cool to see that it was really just your persistence.
Yeah, Yeah, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, they say.
I'm gonna have to start doing that more often. I'm gonna
Yeah,
start stalking people like that.
yeah, that stalking. There's something to that. Yeah,
Well, that's awesome, man.
yeah, that was definitely a cool experience. Last year was a lot of cool experiences because I had the cabin master thing, and then next thing I know, I'm driving to Pennsylvania for a competition. Just networking. It's what it's all about. That was it. Yeah, that your network is your net worth.
Yep.
There's some dumb song my wife listens to, and they say that, and I say, well, there's one good part in that song.
So I take it you're coming down this year?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I went down last year to experience it, and this year I'm coming to win.
You're gonna have some tough competition, man.
Oh, of
You
course I am, because I
you
figure
were in the
everyone
top
else.
5.
Yeah, yeah.
Two.
Oh well, I so second place in the initial competition,
Yep.
and then I nailed down last place in the finals. Like I did so bad, it was almost impressive. But what an experience that was! I thought I was out long before. I talked to your wife, and she's like, "Well, you never know." I was like, "No, I know. I'm done. I'm out." And then I wasn't out, and it's like, "Oh boy, now I got to change my whole mindset back to competition mode." Uh,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, I totally caved to the pressure. There's a guy that camera right in front of me. I was like, all I could think of is, "Don't do anything dumb. Don't do anything dumb." Yeah. About 30 minutes into it, I got over that when everyone else was done. I'm just laughing at that point. But man, what an experience. That was so much fun.
Cool.
But I figured a lot of guys they're going to wait till the second year. They want to see what it's all about. And
Mm-hmm.
then they're coming back. So it's going to be wild. I'm, whatever. It's just fun. Met some cool people. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're in the planning phase now. It's shaping up to be a really good year. We got some more sponsors coming on. We're gonna change it up a little bit. We're gonna have it at a different venue than my shop. The second year, like the first year, nobody knew what it was about,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "What? Huh?" And then you got you driving down from Maine. We got people flying up from North Carolina, West Virginia. Yeah, it was just Ohio. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was, yeah, for like this tiny first year fabricator Olympics. Like nobody knew exactly what was going on. So yeah, no, I'm super pumped of how it is shaping up to be this year. I'm looking forward to having you again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going. I told my wife when I first wanted to go, I don't ever go out and do things for myself. I'm busy and I'm a homebody. But I told her, I said, I got a feeling that this is going to get big. And I said, if I can go and be a train wreck, but at least I can say I was at the first one ever. And then it turned out I didn't totally bomb, and well, that made it even better. Until the end, that was a bomb, but yeah. So I still think that this is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
We do have plans on growing it to be more than just what it was and what it's going to be this year. I guess I can talk about this. It doesn't really matter. We are actually starting a 501c3 for the called the Trades Advocacy Coalition to really just promote trades,
Awesome.
really, and show people that you can have a really good life and follow your dreams in a blue collar job.
Yeah.
The podcast is going to fall under this. My wife is writing some books that's going to fall under that umbrella. The Fabricator Olympics is going to fall under that umbrella. And man, when I close my eyes and I dream about what the Fabricator Olympics is going to be, I see this being on the road. I see us doing
Yeah.
this a couple places across the country all throughout the year. And, Fabricator Olympics Northeast, Southeast, Northwest, Southwest, Central, like, yeah, we have a whole plan, but like me, I always I want to run before I can walk. So we have to get, 1, 2 under our belt. We have to get people on board. We have to, refine and hone this down to
Yeah.
see what it really can be. I do have aspirations to make this something, big.
That's great. It's I knew it was going to be something special. I've never seen anything like it. I'm looking forward to this year because, like I said, I think a lot of people held back to kind of see what it was about.
Yep.
And
I agree.
I think the rock stars are going to come out of the woodwork for this one.
There are other welding competitions like Project MFG. Like that is, they have welding and they have fabrication involved with it. And there are a couple other ones like that. But this is the only one that is just like a straight up fabrication. Like you're not graded on your welds at all. And this is made for just industry professional fabricators.
Yeah.
And that's how it differentiates. And, that's what I love. And that's what a lot of us other people like that's what we love to do. You know what I mean? So we're passionate about, some guys are just passionate about the welding. Like I and a lot of other people are more passionate about the fabrication part of it. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it just fits that little niche. It's what we love to do. So let's just keep on doing it.
Right on.
Well, is there anything else you got that you want to go over, man?
I don't think so. I think we pretty well covered it.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you taking out the time. I know it's really hard to carve out time on a Friday night with your family. So tell them I said thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
No, thanks for letting me yammer on. This was fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. We'll be in touch soon. I mean, we text every couple of weeks anyway, so
yeah.
So
all right, man.
Cool, buddy. I appreciate you, and we'll catch up soon. All right.
All right. Sounds great.
All right. See you, man.
Yeah. Take care.
Well, that's it for this final episode with Scott from Concord River Fab. I hope you guys really got a lot of enjoyment and a lot of tidbits out of our talk. Come back next week for a brand new episode series with a guy you haven't heard before. If you want to say hi to Scott online, you can go over to Instagram and find him at Concord River Fab. You can find us at the podcast at Welding Business Owners Podcast. You can find me at JMW Fabrication. And until next time, get out there, get it done, and get it in there.